Ondo State Governor Rotimi Akeredolu has again asked his party, the APC, to rotate power to the south as the party plans for its presidential primary on Monday. And the Nigerian police force is already training and equipping its personnel for the elections. Hello everyone, welcome to the program. This is Politics Today, live on Channels Television. I'm Sean Okimaloye in Abuja. Let's get to it, everyone, because we have a lot of grounds to cover tonight. We begin with telling you about what has happened today with the chairman of the Inter-Party Advisory Committee, IPAC, and the national chairman of the Action Democratic Party, Alhaji Yabagi Sani, who has emerged as the presidential candidate of the party. He was declared as the ADP presidential flag bearer at a special national convention of the party which held in Abuja. The chairman, ADP electoral panel, Mr. Tasiru Abdurrahman, said that Alhaji Sani was chosen by consensus after he was screened and confirmed to have met all necessary requirements for the 2023 presidential election. So there you go. We now have the list of presidential candidates for the 2023 presidential election now populated more. Let's take a look at all the candidates that we have in the bag. We have the PDP candidate Atiku Abubakar, the Labour Party candidate Peter Obi, APGA's candidate Professor Peter Umadi, and the ADP candidate Alhaji Yabagi Sani. We're looking forward to others emerging from their respective presidential primaries. So let's tell you that ahead of the 2023 general elections, the Nigerian Police Force is to commence an election security management training for its personnel. The training, to be held across the 6 geopolitical zones of the country, is scheduled to commence in August. Speaking at the launch of the Police Specialized Services Automation Project held at the Police Force headquarters in Abuja, the Inspector General of Police, Mr. Usman Alkali Baba, says appropriate frameworks have also been put in place to ensure a peaceful, secure and credible electoral process in both the Ekiti and Osun State governorship elections. Take a listen to the IGP.
I have approved the conduct of election security management training for police officers ahead of the general election. This training will be delivered in partnership with a training and security consultant with a vast experience in election security management. We'll hold across the 6 geopolitical zones of the country and will commence with the North Central Zone on the 4th of August, 2022.
That's the IGP, Usman Alkali Baba. Now, so much to talk about tonight, and news coming from the APC, especially what the governor of Ondo State has said, asking his party, again, this is not the first time Governor Akeredolu is saying it, rotate power to the south, speaking to the conscience of the party. Well, is that a moral thing to do? Is that a political thing to do? And is that the expedient thing to do? And what options does the APC have, considering what President Muhammadu Buhari has said, that please allow me, as a matter of reciprocity, to produce my successor? We'll take a deeper look into what this means in the politics of the APC and where the ruling party will turn when the time comes for their primaries. But first and foremost, let's check out your political roundup stories.
Governor Umar of Interior of Adamawa State has described the just concluded presidential primaries, which produced former Vice President Atiku Abubakar as its flag bearer, as a no winner and no vanquished situation, because the winner is the PDP and not an individual. The governor made this comment at the Yola International Airport immediately after his arrival from Abuja, where he was received by state government officials and the PDP leadership in the state.
As far as this convention convention is concerned, there is no victory, no vanquish. It is the PDP that won, and we are together and we are working assiduously to see that the presidency is protected for PDP.
Ahead of the presidential primary election of the Young Progressives Congress, national leader and presidential aspirant of the party, Bola Tinubu, is assuring Cross River delegates of a functional seaport in the state, as well as rehabilitation of the Bakassi displaced persons if voted as president. Addressing party leaders in Calabar, the state capital, the APC chieftain says he is ready to turn the economy of the country around.
The way we will do it will be different. It's not giving you dates on unfulfilled promise. We create small-scale business lending that will give you capital.
The presidential aspirant also paid a courtesy visit to the governor, Ben Ayade, at the government house.
I think that power belongs to God, and only God gives this power. But man, you have a role to align with the fears, the words, the spoken words of God, that it's the tone of the South. Therefore, you're qualified to vie, because indeed you are from the South.
Mixed reactions have continued to trail the All Progressives Congress National Assembly primary in Bade, Jakusko Federal Constituency of Yobe State. Supporters of some of the major aspirants are protesting the exercise, carrying placards on the streets of Gashua. The protesters are blaming the electoral panel for failing to conduct elections in the constituency, but end up producing a result against the wish of the delegates. The dust raised by the Ogun State People's Democratic Party governorship primary, which produced two factional governorship candidates for the party in the state, is not abated, as the party is asking aggrieved aspirant in the last governorship primary to approach the court for a redress. The state secretary of the party, Sunday Sholari, gave the advice in Abeokuta, the state capital, during a press conference held at the party secretariat. He, however, denied any parallel primary on the 25th of May, insisting that Ladia Debutu, who was elected at the primary held at the Olusegun Obasanjo Presidential Library, remains the only governorship candidate for the party in the state.
It goes to say and confirm that PDP in Ogun State never conducted anything close to a parallel Congress anywhere.
And a former aspirant of the All Progressives Congress in Kwara State, Yakub Gobir, has decamped to the Young Progressives Party. Addressing journalists in Ilorin, Gobir expresses concern about the money politics across the country, which has discouraged competent people from participating in the governance of the country.
Well, the winner and the runner-up have met again, and that's NPDP. The presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, has received the runner-up, the governor of Rivers State, Mr. Nyesom Wike, at his residence. Alhaji Atiku had earlier met Governor Wike in Abuja at the governor's residence, as after Atiku beat him to the party's presidential ticket. Mr. Wike, after the initial meeting, proceeded to Rivers State, where he was greeted by his supporters. Let's tell you that the All Progressives Congress, APC, has released a list of those who will chair the different committees of its presidential primary and national convention, expected to help them elect a 2023 presidential candidate. It is expected to hold a convention between the 6th and 8th of June 2022, where the presidential candidate is to emerge from about 23 aspirants. This is some of the subcommittee chairs, from the governor of Gombe State to the governor of Lagos State, who is chairing finance and logistics, accreditation and decoration, Governor Dapo Abiodun of Ogun State, security and compliance, Governor Rotimi Akeredolu of Ondo State, and to be co-chaired by General Bello Dambazao, a former Minister of Interior. Let's tell you what Governor Akeredolu said today. He said the party, APC, must work hard to retain power by rotating the presidency to the south. Governor Akeredolu says this, again, is basically reiterating his stance on the issue of zoning of the APC ticket to the southern region of the country. In a statement made available to Channels Television and published on the governor's social media, Governor Akeredolu said power should be rotated to the south. Governor Akeredolu noted that the APC must be ready to rotate power as to retain power, adding that to retain power, the party must rotate to the south. APC must work to retain power. We must rotate power to retain power to the south. Shikena. Shikena in local parlance means finished. That's the message from Governor Rotimi Akeredolu. Meanwhile, President Buhari had made public his views on the ticket of the party, pleading that leaders of the party and stakeholders should allow him a chance of first refusal. That is what it looks like, a conventional situation, a chance of reciprocity, where he's able to pick his successor. Well, let's get deeper into what this means. The legal angle, the political angle, and also the internal horse trading. Where will it go and how will it go with the APC? Let's speak with a chieftain of the APC. Ismail Ahmed is a lawyer, a member of the APC Board of Trustees. He was the immediate past national youth leader of the party and spokesperson of the National Convention of the and the Planning Committee of the party. He is being a member of the APC convention in 2014 that brought President Muhammadu Buhari as a flag bearer of the APC in Lagos. He was also a member of the Convention Planning Committee of 2018 that brought Adams Oshomole and the Affirmation Convention of President Buhari for the 2019 election. Ismail Ahmed is one of the 13 members of the Planning Convention Committee. In March of this year, he ran for Senate in his native Kano State, but withdrew at the last minute. Thank you so much, Ismail, for coming tonight.
Thank you very much.
Why did you withdraw?
Well, the governor wanted me to. He asked me to, so I withdrew.
Is there any reason he gave you?
Yeah, well, there's some local balancing that has to be done. The governorship candidate was zoned to my local, was given to somebody from my local government.
Was given?
Well, won. The person that won was from my local government, and the person that was
seated.
Not
because
seated,
that's what
actually.
Politics is looking like.
No, he wasn't seated.
They look and say, oh, you fit this, and they give it to you.
Well, you see, I think there were a lot of balancing that needed to be done. There was a lot of considerations that was taken, but he actually won the primaries on Friday. So
that brings me to what is happening in your party and what the president said. And before I come to what Governor Akeredolu said, no, the president is asking for a reciprocity, ability to be able to produce his successor. I mean, he's looking like politics is a matter of seeding, seed to someone who you feel good about.
Well, first of all,
and people have criticized your party, though.
I think
there's a lot of.
I have a different take about what the president said, and now because I have followed the president since 2002 when he got into contest, and I know he is a firm believer of allowing the system and people to be able to bring up the system to be able to bring up winners of elections, and I know that he has gone through primaries in 2014. You know, he contested in an open and free and fair primaries in 2014 in Lagos, of which you mentioned. I was a member of that committee. I was one of the people that actually counted his votes. So I know for a fact that the president has always reiterated the fact that he needed, the system needed to produce flag bearers through transparent and fair and credible system so that they can be legitimacy. So I think I have a little different, I think there's a lot of misreading to what the president said to the governors. I think there's a lot of misinterpretation of what the president meant.
Interestingly, it wasn't, I mean, so a lot of the times when the media puts out what people say, politicians always throw it back and say, the media did this, the media did that. These are not what we thought the president said. This is what the presidency quoted the president as saying. And most of the times when things have been said, they're in soundbite, and that's why they are played for people to hear. And when there are inferences made, people know that these are inferences. But when they're in letters, you cannot be subjective in your interpretation. You can only be objective. You can only read what the president has said in the letters in which he said it. So he said, a chance of reciprocity. Allow me to produce my successor.
I didn't think the president said, allow me to produce my successor.
Should I read it again to you? Once again, if that that particular quote is read, I'd like to read it again, because a chieftain of your party yesterday, when I was reading it to him, that's what exactly he was trying to do, to try to color what was being said. And look, what a leader says, people have the right to debate the interpretation and what it means. Because look, this is the allegations and the criticism to that statement, that this looks so much like imposition.
Let me tell you what I think.
In fact, some
let me
people have gone further to say it's
tell you what I
dictatorial
know.
in tone.
Let me tell you what I know for a fact. I know that this president went through primaries right from 2002 when he contested under the APP. In 2006 when he contested under the ANPP. In 2010, 2011 was the only time that he was the sole candidate in CPC. And we all know that he contested, it was a very contestable election primary in Lagos in 2014 at the stadium. So this is a president who never shies away from primaries. Now, what I think of primaries is that primaries needs to be done in the sense that if the president has a preference for a candidate, which it is within his right to do so, that candidate can be supported, you know, through other means. The president knows what to do to get support for that candidate, but the candidate of the party needs to emerge through a transparent process of seeing that he has won an election. An election needs to be won in the primaries for the candidate to have the momentum going into general election. The legitimacy of the candidate begins from winning an election. If he wins a primary, which is seen to be at least, you know, transparent or seen to be done, you know, we can go back to history and see how Shagari was backed by the military oligarchy in 1978, but he needed to defeat Damasan in Kanu in the NPN primary in 1978, in 1979 for him to emerge the NPN candidate. Umaru Musa Yar'Adua was backed by Obasanjo, everybody knew that. But he contested against people like Rochas Okorocha and Buba Marwa at that time in PDP. He defeated them and emerged. Obasanjo himself emerged through a process, even though he was backed by the military junta of Abdusalami Abubakar, General Babangida, and T.Y. Danjuma, the trio of those military oligarchy. They supported Obasanjo to emerge through the PDP primaries in 1998 in Jos, but he still went into an election in primary against Alex Okweme, Abubakar Rimi, and the likes of them, and he defeated them and emerged, and that was where he got it. President Muhammadu Buhari emerged through a process defeating Atiku Abubakar, Rabiu Musa Konkoso, late Dr. Simon Isaiah, Rochas Okorocha in 2014 for him to emerge. And that gave us the momentum going into 2015 elections that helped us, gave us the wind enough to defeat Jonathan in that election of 2015. So the primary is really important. Now,
so you don't support the consensus idea?
No, consensus has different meanings. What does consensus mean? Consensus means when every other candidate unanimously agree that they are going to step down for a particular candidate. Okay, that is good. That is part of the process. That is part of what our law says. But that also comes with the fact that they would have to willingly agree, because you look, we are going into an election cycle where we have an 8-month lull. In an 8-month lull, we're going to have a long period of campaign, and we're going against a candidate who has been running for president since 1992. So if there's nothing that if there's something that he understands very well, is how to run for president. We need to bring in our best, and our best needs to come from a process that the party members are willing to go back to the polling units and work for the candidate that they have trust in because they believe they brought him in. Now, whatever might happen behind the scenes in trying to get that candidate to win, or whichever preferred candidate, there are a lot of people that once the president says, this is my candidate, we are going to work for that candidate. If the president says, this is the candidate I want, we are going to work for that candidate. But I know for a fact that this president is not going to stampede a primary election from happening.
Are you saying this because you know his mind? He has spoken to you about it?
Because I know in several conversations, in several speeches, at several times, at different times since the beginning of his political sojourn in 2002, this president, Muhammadu Buhari, has never tried to stop an election.
Maybe you are misinterpreting the tonality of the president's action, or maybe present history or recent history as discolor your seeing or perception of the president. So let's take it from the last decision he made for the party, or he made on behalf of the party, and that is the position of the national chairman.
The national chairmanship,
Senator Abdullahi Adamu came into the fray.
The president
very much late into the race.
Yes, the president picked a preferred candidate. Now, he did not stop anyone from going into primaries.
Were you at the meeting?
No, sorry.
Were you at the meeting with the aspirants?
Well, the aspirants told me what happened.
Okay, so what can you tell Nigerians what happened?
I know, he just basically said that he thinks that we should all work towards a particular candidate.
But did you hear also that he just informed them of his preferred candidate?
I don't know.
Did he have opportunity to interact, to ask questions?
I don't know about that.
To state their minds.
I don't know about that. But
you just know one part of the story.
Hold on. They could still have gone on into the primaries if they had wanted to.
No,
sorry. Into
that's exactly the question I was asking. When you said the president has never. But in this particular instance, it does look like a
he has never stampeded a primary election.
If you use the word stampede.
No, the party.
But when he has taken the decision,
the party convention is not primaries, Sean. You know that. The party convention is not primaries.
But it's an election.
No, it's not primaries.
No, but there was an election.
He has never stampeded a primary.
There was an election, Ismail.
Was there an election? You said there was
an election for the party executives.
That's what I'm saying.
One of those who
hold on, Sean. Let's not confuse these two things. I said the president has never stampeded a primary election. Leadership of the party is not a primary election. Leadership of the party is usually a consensus of the elite of the party, stakeholders of the party. That's what usually happens. Leadership of the party is usually the consensus of the elites of the party, and the biggest stakeholder of the party is the president. But as far as primaries is concerned, this president came through a transparent primaries that happened in Lagos. You were there. Your channel's television was there to cover it. You saw what happened. He defeated contestants that were genuine in looking for what they were looking at, and that was what gave him the momentum to go into 2015 elections. This election in 2023 is the biggest and the widest that you have seen since 1999. This is the first election that we would have that there will be no President Muhammadu Buhari on the ballot, and there is no incumbent president seeking for re-election. We need to put our best foot forward.
All right.
I'm sure the PDP made the decision.
I've allowed you to land on your thought.
Now we need the process to bring out somebody.
You were assuming that there was a confusion, but there's no confusion. Your party went to a national convention to elect.
We are talking about primary.
Let me put in the question. Let me put in the question. Your party went in a national convention to elect party executives.
That's right.
And the president had a preferred candidate who came into the race late in the day. The similar situation is the fact that people are also running for an office, and they are aspirant. And the president had never said he doesn't have a preferred candidate. He said he has a preferred person for the office, and he's asking the governor, allow me a chance of reciprocity. And I'm saying to you that when you say that the president has never taken his own decision above the other decision or the party's decision. And I'm saying you may have gotten it wrong at some point, because when your party went to the national convention, the president preferred choice came tops. And that is the quote of the president, what he said. And let me read it out to you again. The president said, and part of the quote is, in keeping with the established internal policies of the party, and as we approach the convention in a few days, therefore, I wish to solicit the reciprocity and support of the governors and other stakeholders in picking my successor, who will fly the flag of our party for election into the office of the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. It did not say, allow me to pick my successor, whom you may pick amongst. He said, allow me to pick the successor, whom will fly the flag of the party. So it is not us that is confusing him. You probably want to mix things up.
Now let's be very clear about something. Based on so many things that the president said, that statement, I know that the president is going to allow a primary. I know that for a fact. That statement, whatever statement he made, I know that this president has always been a big advocate of allowing primaries and allowing the system to churn out leaders. Look, we have an election to go into, an election where we're going to go against people who have been battle tested. We need to go into our primary to be able to produce a candidate that people are going to go back to their polling units and work for. The president would have his preferred candidate, maybe not. He may be able to say to some people and say, I want that person delivered. But it is important that whoever it is that emerges for the party, emerge from winning an election on the day of convention. He has to win on the floor. Whatever happens behind the scenes, It's none of my business, but it needs to be seen.
Senator Abdullah Adamu won on at the grounds there.
Because everyone,
this is where everybody should queue.
Because everyone pulled away.
Now, look at what Governor
every contestant.
Isn't it what's going to happen when the president said, "This is my preferred candidate"?
Well, I don't know, but
on Sunday or Saturday,
I hope. I don't know. But I hope.
Queue behind.
I don't know.
Take for example.
I don't know what's going to happen.
You would have run as a senator in your state, but you stepped down because your governor said you should do so.
Yes, and he gave me good reasons for it.
So isn't that what happened in the case of the
somebody else ran? Somebody else ran. There was another person that ran against the person that won.
Adamu Abdullah.
No, I'm not talking about Adamu Abdullah.
No, I'm saying that's what happened in the case of the president when he said Adamu Abdullah is his preferred candidate.
Look, there's a big difference between party leadership and presidential.
You know so much about your party, but you're mixing it up. You're just isolating it so that you can use eloquence to confuse the issues.
There is a big difference. There is a big difference.
Nigerians and my viewers are not confused about the issues.
So are you saying that it's the same?
Politician. No, they are the same, more or less. But let's look at this issue, Ismail. Look at what the governor of Ondo State said. He said that your party has to be careful and has to zone to the south. Do you see your party doing so?
I don't know what my party will do. Ultimately, I don't know what the decision will do. This party has never been the party that sits down and zones particular positions. In 2014, like I told you, Rochas Okorocha ran, and President Muhammadu Buhari ran. So they've never, but I, Ismail Ahmed, and so many people that I know, as a young politician, growing up, this is not legal. I support the ticket of the party to go to the southern part of Nigeria. I support it.
So you're saying that those who are running in the north should just cede it or step
I'm not saying they should cede. They have the right to run because other people from other parts of the country have the right to run. And if they run and they win, based on fair premises, we will go in and we'll fight and make sure that they win election. But I think based on morality and equity, I, Ismail Ahmed, believe that APC, because APC should allow southern candidates emerge. And I believe that our delegates who are coming for the convention on Monday should be able to vote for a candidate from the southern part of Nigeria who can defeat Atiku Abubakar in 2020.
Why do you think your party may be considering a northern candidate?
Because like I told you, my party has never made it a duty to zone any position. People have always run for positions. In 2014, you know this. Why do you keep asking me questions you know?
No,
didn't Rochas Okorocha run in 2014?
No. In your convention,
he didn't run?
You zoned in your convention, the last convention.
No, I'm not talking to you.
If the people forget
why do you keep mixing party conventions and presidential primaries?
Because they are synonymous.
No, they are not synonymous.
Come on, if you know politics, they are not synonymous. They are synonymous. Now, let me give you this.
Okay, let me give you the difference. It seems that you don't understand the difference between presidential primaries.
You are the one confusing things. Because
there's
the issue
a big difference.
No, it's synonymous.
There is big difference.
The reason why the party
was it zoned?
The reason why you will zone across the region is because you have a northern candidate and you say, oh, let's take a southern leadership of the party. And that's what the party has done.
Who zoned it? Where was it zoned to?
Why did you get a Shomale or got John Oyegun from the south as the national chairman of the party?
No, that is a consensus. That is not a zoning arrangement.
Is that not a convention that your party has followed?
No, you see, if you just calm down, Sheun,
I'm calm.
No, you're
not. I'm not in the race. I'm not in the arena. Okay. You are the one in the arena. Your party is on the line.
You seem to have answers stacked up in your head that are wrongly prioritized.
No,
you don't understand.
I'm trying to guide my viewers because it's my duty to do so.
So can you listen to me?
No, I will listen to you
so please,
if we get the conversation right.
Can you listen to me?
I'm listening to you.
Can you listen
That's why I invited you.
Now, number one, there's never been a time that this party APC, since 2013 when it was formed, that clearly says that we are zoning position ABC to places A, B, C, D. People come out to run, zoning comes after that. We don't zone as a matter of written principle. We don't do that. But there will always be convention and consensus of elites or stakeholders that will sit down and say, look, even though this is it's not in the ambit of the law, it is not written in our constitution, it's not written in our books, it's not written on any guidelines, we support ABC to emerge from certain places. That is completely different from saying that the party zoned it. Because if the party zoned chairmanship that you are saying, for example, former Governor Yari of Zamfara wouldn't have come out to run. Former Governor Sass of Borno, from Northeast wouldn't have come out to run. All these people ran for national chairmanship. They are all part of the people that the president pleaded with to cede this position to Abdullah Adamu, who is now the party chairman. And they did. That's fine. Okay, so there was no zoning. In 2014, when we had primaries, President Muhammadu Buhari from Northwest, Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso from Northwest, Atiku Abubakar from Northeast, Rochas Okorocha from Southeast, Simon Diazaya from North Central. They ran. President Muhammadu Buhari defeated them on the floor. Now, we have people who have come out from all parts of the country. South-South, Southeast, Southwest, and Northeast and North Central. All these people came out to run, and even Northwest. From all the zones of the country, there are people who have bought forms and they want to run. But I can assure you that me, Ismail Ahmad, I don't know what the party might decide, I don't know what the president will prefer as his candidate at the end of the day. That is his prerogative as a stakeholder of this party. But we believe that the same consensus that leaders reach, they should reach and allow people to emerge from the process through elections so that we can have the wind of legitimacy going into 2020.
We're totally out of time.
You took most of my time shouting at me. And not understanding. Yes.
Well, what to take back on YouTube. That's my. I love debates, and I love intellectualism. So when I'm having a debate, only that tonight you just got your history mixed up with some element of.
Like what? Give me an example where I got it.
But that's okay. You're a politician. That's what you do for a living. Thank you so much, Ismail. For
we mix up things.
You mix up things a lot of times. But it's my duty here to guide the thoughts and the views of my viewers to get the right perspective into issues. That's why I'm here. Thank you so much for coming. We'll take a break, everyone. And when we return, we'll be speaking with the presidential candidate of APGA, Professor Peter Umari, on the APGA alternative in the 2023 presidential race. Stay with us, everyone. We'll be right back. Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us. Let's get back to the conversation. It's about how to get this country on track and also for Nigerians to get the dividends of democracy. Well, you hear that a lot of the times from politicians. So if the essence of being in power is to make lives of citizens better, secure them, then we must also ask the right questions to get those who want power in line. So tonight, we were having a conversation about policy, governance, and of course, the ambition of the APGA presidential candidate who emerged only yesterday. He's a former Chief Judge of Anambra State, Professor Peter Umari, is a professor of law at the University of Nigeria, who joined the party following his retirement as the Chief Judge of Anambra State in March 2019, and he's live with us right here in our studio. Thank you so much for coming tonight.
Thank you very much.
There seems to be a lot of professors in the race.
Yes, suddenly.
Out of your party and other political parties.
Yes, just like you have a lot of professors conducting the election itself.
So it's a professor's thing.
Right now, yes.
So, I mean, it's good to have intellectuals because we cannot have, and I use these words advisedly, charlatans, those who know nothing, to run the affairs of this country. We must get things seriously, you know, when we come as low as saying, it doesn't matter, I just have the minimums, the barest minimum requirement. And sometimes people applaud those who have reached the highest levels in their career, in private life, or even in academics, come into politics to play a role. Now, for you, what was the inspiration? Why do you want to leave all of those things that you have done as those whom is being bowed to in the courtroom, and as a professor of law, now you want to be in politics?
Yes, thank you very much. Like you said, yes, it's good to have the big titles and come into the polity to help redefine Nigeria. But it's not just the title alone. All of us with the big titles will have to live up to the billing. That is the first point I'm making. And then I hope we'll live up to the billing by delivering wherever we find ourselves, even, you know, with the titles that we have. Well, yeah, I had an interview sometime with this day, and these questions came up, part of it. I said, well, it's you've been a judge, you've been a chief judge, and suddenly you're in the classroom. It's no longer about your magisterial position now. You're teaching. Your job is to make sure that the child, the student before you, understands what you are saying. And of course, you have to be abreast with what you're saying, because you cannot teach a man anything that you do not understand. So, well, that is one part of it. The other part of it is that also, when you are retired, you're not advised to go and sleep on your couch. They tell you that your brains die, and then you die too. So you have to get something to keep you working on. Of course, that's why I went to the classroom when I left the judiciary. But then the next thing to do is to join the polity in a way where I can be helpful. And here I am. I'm the candidate of a political party.
What kind of help do you think you can be of to Nigeria?
Reposition Nigeria in 4 years, if I'm elected.
How do you hope to do that?
Well, principally, and that is very interesting. Principally, if I'm elected as president, I will remove my personal interest from the picture entirely.
How does, I mean, what exactly do you mean by that?
Yes, that means if you're president today, you're not going to predict exactly what is going to come in the file on your table on the first day you get there, not even the second or third day. Everything you're talking about is conjecture. The most important thing will be the mindset with which you come to the office, how you want to tackle the problems that you see on the table, not what you have put up all in your mind about how they are. You come there, they're different. So that is it. So if you come in and then you want to ask questions on every file that is put before you as the man walking on the seat of the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, then you ask questions and you get satisfied with whatever they do on every line, and then you get on, and then you get a better result.
You said you're the hope of Igbo presidency.
Did I say that?
You were quoted as saying so.
Oh, well, you know, that is the point, with due respect. If it is at this time, if it was yesterday, you could go and refer to my speech, because I made a speech and I didn't say anything other than that. I don't want people putting words into my mouth.
But do you think you are the hope of Igbo presidency?
No, I'm not talking about Igbo presidency per se. What I have said over time, and what I can repeat here is this, that I am as qualified as any other person to be the president of Nigeria, be it in APGA or any other political party. That's what I have always said. So,
do you think that APGA is that platform that can make you achieve that aspiration?
Oh, yeah, in terms of that question, you can split them. In terms of that, yes. Because don't forget, APGA is a very organized political party. APGA has 37 chairmen in the 36 states and the FCT. And down the line, they have local government apparatus, down to the wards, and they're very committed.
But it's being perceived as a regional party.
Well, yes, that is not to be denied, because that's not to be denied, but it's a misconception in terms of how APGA is arranged.
So the question is, if your party has a structure to win a national election, if it's perceived as a regional party, what is the hope of winning a national election?
Yeah, there you come again to what has been said perhaps on this studio many times over again, and what may come up before I end. It's about free and fair elections. That's it. Because if you allow, first of all, there's been apathy. People have been, too slow. because they're in coming up to vote, because they say, well, it's going to be the same results like it's been before, etc., etc. But now with the gadgets that are being brought in, with the new Electoral Act 2022 as amended, more people are going to come in and vote, and then it is after an election cycle that you determine who has the preponderance of votes and who has control of where, not before. So in other words, these things shift at every election. So to your question, where we are looking at is with the situation as they are on the ground today, and if the elections are free and fair, everybody will see that APGA will return a good and surprising result.
You've used a word in almost every instance that you have opportunity to speak about your ambition, the word reposition.
Yes.
Yesterday you said it. Yes. In your past speeches you said it.
Yes.
That you want to reposition Nigeria. And I'd like to ask the right questions. In what area do you want to reposition? Because you said it, that in 4 years you will reposition Nigeria. How do you want to do that?
That comes back to where we started. Because there are a lot of things to do about a country. But if you set an example of how you want to lead, because it's all about leadership, and it's all about removing yourself from the picture. And if you're, I'll give you an example. I've been in the judiciary. I've been a chief judge of a high court in the state for 8 years. Now, you have a messenger out there who moves files. And if you get a file that is not properly done to the messenger, he looks at it and says, I'm not the one who's going to take this file here, because all the trouble is going to rain on me. Go find how you can get it in there. Because he knows who he's working with, if you get my point. So if you now, as a leader of a country like Nigeria, which has not been run the way it should be run, so the first thing you're going to do is position yourself in such a way that everybody who is working with you knows that this president who has come is different from the presidents we've had before.
So I'd like to ask the right questions. You've given me a general perspective to these, more or less something that is that a lot of people might be looking forward to hear out, direct and giving sector by sector solution to the problem. But you've been in the judiciary for the better part of your life. The most part of your career as a lawyer and as a judge. Now, the question is, if I ask you, not only in the judiciary, what do you think is the major problem or challenge of this country? What would you say?
I would say, put it in this way, they will have to embrace the rule of law. That will surprise you. They will have to.
You're talking about what people should do.
That's why
I'm asking about the problem of Nigeria.
That's exactly the problem. Because that's why I put it this way. They have not embraced the rule of law.
So we are operating in a lawless society?
Almost. And they have not embraced separation of powers. And they have not done much about due process. And in between all that, you see the trouble we've been going about financial autonomy. Because you see, permit me to say, in America, for instance, what you have and the terminology is about co-equal arms of government. And that is the checks and balance that you're talking about. That is how to run a polity. So if the judiciary is sufficient constitutionally and financially, they are better able to check your excesses. These are the main problems.
So we have a structural problem that goes down into our constitution.
Of course we do.
So what would you do to that?
That's it. That's exactly what I'm saying. I'm running on a triple banner of rule of law. I can say it as many times as I have the opportunity. Rule of law, separation of powers, and due process. And if you listen
and that will fix our problem in this country.
It will. If you listen to my...
And including the problem of security and that of economy. Because I'd like to touch on those one quickly.
Yes.
And how rule of law can fix economy problem.
Yes, because like I said in my interview with NTA the other time, we treat these salient things with kid gloves. The rule of law entails taking it down to the end. No sacred cows. That's the rule of law.
So you'll be firm on the issue of corruption?
Firm, yeah, very firm. Nobody's above the law. Like I said, even the judge who is running the judiciary is also bound by the rule of law.
So, I mean, is it true? I mean, you being in the bench for several years, is it true that the judiciary is dirty?
It's not as clean. It may not be as clean as it should be.
But what is its state? As you left it?
Is that not enough for me to come in? That's my constituency. It's not as clean as it should be.
So you wish to clean that up too?
Not just that, everywhere else.
Okay, so I'd like to ask you, because I would love to go into security, economy, and other areas. I mean, we still have a lot of time. You have about 9 months for campaign, so we have time to do that. But specifically on the issue of the IPOB agitation, the case of Nnamdi Kanu is in court. And in my last issue, you'll be president, I mean, be elected president of Nigeria. You might even get into when you come into power. Would you consider political solution? Or how would you address the issue of IPOB agitation and Nnamdi Kanu?
I will consider a political situation.
To releasing him?
Well, that is it. You don't just, when you consider a political situation, you don't just release him. You have to put everything into place. After all, we had the issue of amnesty. And you know how much Nigeria spent on amnesty. You will agree with me that's a political solution.
So you do that to IPOB situation in the southeast?
We'll fashion something that is akin to that fits it.
All right. Yeah. Professor Peter Umadi, a former Chief Judge of Anambra State and a Professor of Law. Thank you so much, of course, the presidential candidate of APGA. Thank you so much indeed for coming tonight, Prof.
Thank you very much.
I mean, Lord.
Thank
you so much, appreciate it. And that's our show for today. Thank you so much.
Again.
That's our show for today, everyone. Many thanks for watching. I'm sure Kimale. Bye for now.